just know that you're a candidate, as it were. Yes,
okay.
You're a potential candidate, to develop diabetes. But, when we're talking about consumption of sugar, it is not often the case that, because you're taking too much sugar, you're going to end up with diabetes.
Okay.
If you're taking too much sugar and you're burning it, sugar will not build up in your blood.
Okay.
So that's the active word here is, are you able to burn the sugar that you're taking?
Okay.
But in the event that you take so much sugar and you're not able to burn it, then there's a problem. In some instances, and this is more common with persons with type 1 diabetes, they may not be taking excess sugar, but just that the body is not even burning the one that they are taking. So there's now an accumulation of sugar in the bloodstream. Yes, we have found instances where you say, okay, too much consumption of fizzy drinks or carbonated drinks or soda, of course, because of the sugar content, is really another source of pumping too much sugar into your blood. So but just to say that it's not always carbonated drinks or soda that pumps your blood with sugar.
Okay.
Some food that you take,
Tell us some.
pounded yam.
Yes. You want to kill Africans. You want to finish Africans. That's our major source of enjoyment,
And rice. Now, a friend of mine went to the US and he was told, okay, no, he went to the UK and he was told, okay, stay away from carbohydrates. And he said, okay, as an African, what else should I be taking? Because our food is usually solely carbohydrate. But here is the issue. Before now, we're living a very mobile lifestyle.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, a very mobile lifestyle where everything that we're doing it on the go. You're going to the farm, you're going to trek, you come back from the farm, you're trekking, you come back home, you're relaxing, you're playing outdoors. But hey, what's our lifestyle like now? So even if you're taking all these, carbohydrates and you're able to burn it. The key here is, are you burning the carbohydrates that you're consuming, which eventually builds up as sugar in your blood? So if you're not able to burn it, then please stay off sugar.
Completely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for answering that one. Now, how does diabetes affect the body?
Oh, in so many ways. Now, if we're going to talk about how it affects the body, let's talk about how it shows in the body.
The body first, okay.
Yes, okay. Now, diabetes, when there's so much sugar in your blood, one of the commonest signs you may notice that you easily fatigue, you easily get tired. This is because the sugar is not being converted to energy. Now, the sugar that we take actually ends up as energy. The body builds it, converts it to energy, and then you're able to do all the things you're doing. But you may have so much sugar in your blood and you don't convert it to energy. You find that you easily fatigue. Any small thing, you're panting. You climb up the steps, you're panting. You wake up in the morning, you have not even done anything yet, you feel weak. Second, you may find that you're urinating more often than usual. So you find you wake up in the morning, you go to ease yourself. Even at night, you wake up, you have to go and use the restroom. That's another symptom of diabetes. Then if you have sores that don't seem to heal, you have a little injury.
Common one.
Yes, it's very common. You have a little injury, it takes forever to heal. Just might be. Now, this is not enough to say that once you have an injury that doesn't heal, you have diabetes. So you must also look at other factors before we can conclude that you have, diabetes. So, these are some of another thing that I must mention is that diabetes also affects the way you see, in the sense that it could also blur your vision.
Okay.
Oh yes, so persons who have diabetes find that if they're wearing glasses, for instance, the glasses always get bad. If they have a pair of glasses today, tomorrow it doesn't serve the purpose. You have to go and change your prescription. So if you keep changing your prescription very often, hey, you just might have to go check your blood sugar. It's possible that diabetes is building up in the system.
Wow. That's quite a revelation. I never thought it would affect the vision of anybody. The most common thing we see these days is when you have that injury that's not healing and what have you. But now for children, I don't think they take in so much carbohydrates like that. What's the cause of diabetes, especially in children?
Now, okay, that's typically you find children with type 1 diabetes. Now, with type 1 diabetes, you may not even be taking sugar, as it were, but the body is not able to convert even the little sugar that you take into energy, for you to use. Now, so that is where the problem really lies with children, and it's very common to find children, coming down with diabetes. It's referred to classically as the type 1 diabetes. It is very dangerous, because it is not often that it is detected early.
In children.
Yes, in children. So you may ascribe what symptoms they are manifesting to it. This child is very lazy, so docile, because he's not able to perform activities. The child may even be bedwetting. And then you keep punishing this child for bedwetting,
my goodness.
and for all you may know, this child is really dealing with, type 1 diabetes. And that's where the importance of regular screening, comes in.
Okay. All right. Go on.
All right, so I'm just curious because you said something about it could be possible that that child might be dealing with type 1 diabetes if they urinate often. Like when, some parents would beat their children that, you're bedwetting and everything. So it could be diabetes.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe some parents should apologize to their children. Right,
I guess unfortunately in this part of the world, children really don't have much say. Even in what they experience.
There are so many things that go on with them.
Yes.
Okay, so I wanted to also ask, what are some of those lifestyle changes if when someone gets diagnosed with diabetes, what can they do to adjust apart from the whole medical aspect? What are some of those lifestyle changes that they can employ to help them manage or deal with diabetes better?
All right, thank you. And that question is very important because in when I was talking earlier, I said our lifestyle has changed, the type of way we live our lives. Our work has also, evolved. You may, surprisingly, you probably would not find a farmer in the village with diabetes.
So up until now, yes.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find a farmer in the village. Okay. Now, this farmer takes a lot of carbohydrate. He eats pounded yam in the morning, he eats rice, staple food. Everything that he eats is carbohydrate based. But he's burning off the carbohydrate regularly. Yes, trekking to the farm, to and fro, and then other lifestyle. So most importantly, our lifestyle is key. How do we actually live? You come back, let's start for your typical day.
Yeah.
You drive to work. You get to the office, you're sitting down all day, and then you come back home in the evening late, and then you eat, and then you go to bed. That's the life.
Yeah.
Okay. But if we're able to alter this a little bit, infuse some activities that are physical in nature, whether it be exercise or maybe where you live, you're able to go up the steps back and forth, for some hours. It will also help. So basically, exercise is the most important thing that I'm going to emphasize. The second thing I'll be talking about is diet. Now, diet is economic based, so it depends on your economic power that you're able to, adjust your diet. Yeah. So, but basically, your diet is key, if you are going to do anything, in this regard.
Okay.
So we must also be able to adjust our diet so that we take food that have less sugar, and then also have enough energy. Because taking food that has, I'm not a dietitian, so I'm unable to break this down, but we basically need to go with food that have less sugar, but can also give you energy. So that you're not just lying there.
Glucose is the most important thing.
Glucose is
All right. Sorry, just permit me to ignorantly ask. I know that there might be someone out there who wants some clarification as to which has more sugar or doesn't have. When it comes to beer and some of these other fizzy drinks that are not beer, which actually contains more sugar? Because I've had arguments with people where they say beer has more sugar, beer doesn't have more sugar than the other ones, like the other soft drinks that we know.
Now
Which of them?
You're putting me on the spot here.
First of all, do you drink? Do you drink? Tell us.
Well, I drink.
Okay.
But I don't take beer.
Okay.
I know that. Why? You take beer mostly in the evenings, and then after that you go to bed, and then you end up with a pot belly. You don't burn it up, So.
Exactly.
But now let me tell you, I have somebody that I work with. He has in his fridge is loaded with sugar. I don't want to mention any brand.
Yeah.
But his soft drinks is loaded with it. But his blood sugar is normal.
Okay.
His blood sugar is normal. Now, but to answer your question as much as clearly as I can, I think with all the revelations we've been hearing, about sugary drinks and beer, I would stick my neck out without any empirical evidence to tell you that the soft drinks have more sugar
Than the
than the beer. Yes,
like-
and I think the men will clap for me for this.
So are you trying to combat? But okay, I think I'm sure that a couple of people will have questions that they want to ask you here on the show. So let's just go on and open up the phone lines on 090-7353-00 and 44 or 090-8766-88 and 88. Remember, we have a WhatsApp portal number and it's very much active. You can send in your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, or your text messages on 090-9705-44 and 50. We have Dr. Z Sita right here in the studio, and we have been talking diabetes. If you have any questions, please do let us know and hit up the numbers, and he'll be right here to answer them for you. Now, let's move on. Are there complications of diabetes? Because I've seen many videos where I'm confused about. I see them, stick something on the hands, they change it, especially for children. I've seen those videos and I try to research like why those things. They said, okay, it's because of diabetes. It's a kind of treatment that's given to children and even adults. They take it too. So tell us, what are the complications of diabetes, and how does that help?
Talking about what you see, especially for children, because for these children they're not producing the insulin that is required to break down sugar. So you have to keep pumping them with insulin. The body doesn't produce its natural insulin, so you must find a way of either giving them a slow release medication, in which instance when the body senses that there is a buildup of sugar, it releases some insulin into the bloodstream. So you do that over a period of time until it's able to normalize the sugar. So for those when we're talking about complications now about diabetes, we're going to relate it to how it affects the body, and that was why initially I was talking about wounds that don't heal. And in the event that you have that injury that has refused to heal over time because the body is not able to combat that condition, so you may find also that there's a buildup of infection around that area over a period of time, and because medications are not able to take care of that condition adequately, you may have to lose that limb, for instance. It could be a limb, it could be a finger, it could be a toe, it could be any part of the body. To save that part of the body and to save the human, you may just have to do some amputation. Now, coming to sight, really, diabetes can actually lead to blindness. Diabetes can lead to blindness. In that instance, we have what we call diabetic retinopathy. Now, the eye over time has so much blood. The vessels are losing so much blood into the eye. Not the one you can see, but we have to look into the back of the eye to be able to see the changes there. And because of the leakage of blood into the back of the eye, the retina itself is no longer able to see clearly, and eventually this patient may lose the sight. And so blindness is one, amputation is another, and of course change generally affecting the quality of life of the individual. Now, we also find that some persons who have diabetes tend to be very irritable. They tend to be very irritable. So, and these irritability can lead to a wide range of consequence. It could affect your lifestyle, it could affect your family, it could also affect your conduct in the public. So you want to look at diabetes as really a condition that is more like a combination of many disease factors that can eventually affect somebody's life.
Sorry, if you could just break down irritability, just for the common listener that is listening to you, to understand what you mean by they get more irritable.
Now, you're going to look at irritability from the angle of social, economic factors. Yes. Now, we know that the way things are now, everybody is at that edge. So now, when somebody is easily irritated, things that ordinarily should not trigger a reaction would trigger an overreaction to a little issue. That's what I'm mentioning when I talk about irritability.
Okay, let's talk about policies a bit. When we say malaria, we've had several interventions, people coming into the country. We see that the drugs are even subsidized, treatment sometimes subsidized, especially in primary health cares. Do we have of those this kinds of interventions when it comes to diabetes?
Unfortunately, no. And this is because most chronic conditions like diabetes are difficult to manage. If you look at where policies are coming in the area of intervention, they're usually quick fixes.
Okay.
If you have malaria, you give the person an anti-malaria. In a few days, the person is well.
Okay.
In the case of diabetes, for instance, something you manage for
The
life.
treatment.
Yeah, so that becomes difficult, and I can understand the sensibilities of government in this area. It's difficult to intervene in a patient that has diabetes because you have to be with this patient for life.
Right.
So it is not going to be easy. Health insurance doesn't really help in this area.
Correct.
It doesn't, because there are many policies that are not favorable, to managing chronic conditions, even high blood pressure, for instance,
Right.
which is also, and I must mention it, which is also a complication of diabetes. So because diabetes can affect the liver, and by implication have effect on the internal organs. And so
Okay.
such persons with diabetes usually is a comorbidity.
Okay.
Persons with diabetes, you often find them also
Yeah,
coming down
okay.
with
This is like
hypertension.
the HIV and AIDS kind of thing.
Exactly, yes,
All
yes.
right. So finally, if you have one word to say to everyone out there when it comes to diabetes and how to proper care for themselves, what would it be?
Screening. Do not wait for anything. Sometimes diabetes doesn't even give you a warning sign. You may not even know that you have diabetes. So the ideal thing is to go for a screening. A simple blood sugar test, whether it be fasting blood sugar or random blood sugar, can actually tell whether you have diabetes
Okay.
or not. And this will also go hand in hand with checking your blood pressure. Sometimes when we find that patients have blood pressure, we also
Check blood
check
sugar.
blood sugar. And then finally, go check your eyes, because it's very easy to find diabetes when we do an eye check. Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Z, for joining us here. And guys, you already know we have like 2 very packed sessions for you today. So we need to round this up so that we can get the other set into the studio. Thank you so much again, Dr. Z, for joining us.
Thank you for having
We'll
me.
have more of you here.
I'll be glad.
Promise.
I promise.
All right. We're heading out right now to be back in a few minutes. Please keep it locked in here. We will be right back.
Do you have questions about your health? Well, look no further. On Mind and Body, you are our business. Tune in as we discuss with health experts on everything that concerns you and your well-being. Mind and Body. Mondays, 11 a.m. on Eagles 102.3 FM, Abuja.